There's some big news and notes that just came out regarding Vince McMahon, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out the latest for Mercedes Mone, Liv Morgan, and more. Starting things off with news regarding Vince McMahon. In recent weeks, the big topic of discussion has been, how will WWE 2K24 handle the Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar situation within the video game? And with the video game's official release, the answer for that question is now out. Brock Lesnar is not a part of the regular WWE 2K24 playable roster at all. Players can only get a small glimpse of playing as Brock Lesnar in the WrestleMania Showcase mode, where Brock Lesnar is a playable character for his WrestleMania 30 match against The Undertaker. Brock Lesnar's in-game model can be seen again in the WrestleMania Showcase mode when you face him as Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 31. But outside those two instances in the Showcase mode, Brock Lesnar is nowhere else to be found in the game. Same thing goes for Vince McMahon, who also appears in a limited role within the WrestleMania Showcase mode. Vince McMahon's in-game character can be physically seen during the WrestleMania 17 Showcase match, but outside of that moment, Vince McMahon can't be seen within the video game at all. And like fans pointed out, 2K took the extra measure to even fully censor and blur out Vince McMahon's face from cut screens that he didn't play a pivotal role in, such as the WrestleMania Showcase cutscene for the WrestleMania 35 main event between Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Ronda Rousey. You can clearly see Vince McMahon standing next to Charlotte during one of those cutscenes, but his entire face has been blurred out. The censoring of Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon and their very limited appearances in the video game is of course in response to the allegations that they're both facing right now from the lawsuit that went public back in January. So if they're taking this extra measure within the video game, it's safe to assume that Brock and Vince will also be receiving the same sort of treatment on WWE television. It was also big news this week that Vince McMahon continued to sell more of his shares from TKO and WWE. TKO president Mark Shapiro was recently questioned if TKO has any involvements with Vince McMahon's recent moves, and he made it extremely clear that he has nothing to do with him, and how he will never return to the company in any fashion. He had this to say about Vince McMahon, quote, "We did not participate in the recent sale of Vince McMahon's load that he dropped off. This is now his second time. He's gone from 28 million shares to 15 million shares. He now roughly has 8.5%. We're not in conversation with him. We don't talk to him. We don't know his motive, his plan, his timeline, what, if any. He doesn't consult with us. He doesn't work for the company. He doesn't work at the company. He doesn't come into the offices. He's not coming back to the company." End quote. So he's making it extremely clear for everybody to know that no one in TKO is in communication with Vince McMahon. He doesn't work there and he will never work there again. Liv Morgan has stepped up into a very interesting role in recent weeks. Ever since Liv returned, she's been very vocal about going on a revenge tour and coming after everyone, with the most aggression she's ever shown. A good example of Liv's newly found aggression came a few weeks back, when she was holding her own against Nia Jax. But right when it looked like Liv had a decent shot of doing the impossible and taking down Nia Jax, Becky Lynch interfered and caused a disqualification. And Liv confronted Becky Lynch backstage after the match for ruining her match and trying to always make everything always about herself. So we fast forward to the following week and the roles are reversed. Becky Lynch is in a match with Nia Jax, appears to be getting close to putting Nia away, but Liv Morgan comes out to cause an interference and disqualification, which Becky Lynch didn't like at all and got into Liv's face about. But it can't really be seen as a heel tactic because obviously Liv Morgan was just paying Becky Lynch back for what Becky did to her a week prior. Liv Morgan was basically getting revenge on Becky Lynch and staying true to this theme about being on a revenge tour. The two of them once again got into a backstage conversation that ended with Becky Lynch challenging Liv Morgan to a match, and she accepted. So now it'll be Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch in a singles match. And considering that neither women could really take that pin right now, fans are expecting the disqualification theme to continue in this match, with Nia Jax likely being the one to cause the disqualification this time around. Becky Lynch can't be pinned since she's about to take on Rhea Ripley. Liv Morgan can't be pinned since she can't really lose momentum this early on in her return run. So that match looks like it'll have to have a false finish of some sorts. Becky Lynch's path to WrestleMania is set in stone, so there's no real mystery for what this will do for Becky's story. But for Liv and Nia, they still don't have a clear path for WrestleMania. So could this entire story right now, with all these back and forth disqualifications, lead towards Liv and Nia doing something together at WrestleMania? It also seems like the main goal of Liv's big revenge tour is getting back in the ring with Rhea Ripley, with the women's world title being on the line. Liv owes Rhea the biggest batch of revenge for how Rhea brutally betrayed Liv to join the Judgment Day back in 2022. And like Liv pointed out before Elimination Chamber, she's also the last woman to have pinned Rhea Ripley before Rhea really took off on this historic run. So Liv feels like she's owed some sort of revenge to Rhea, and feels really confident about her chances because she feels like she already has Rhea's number. That seems to be the biggest stop and last goal for this tour that Liv Morgan is currently on. We'll have to see if she'll get that opportunity after WrestleMania, and if Rhea could also walk out of WrestleMania still as Women's World Champion. So don't fall asleep on Liv Morgan, because it looks like her big story could potentially be coming up in the post-WrestleMania season. The wait to see Mercedes Mone back inside a wrestling ring is now down to its final days. Mercedes was sent to take over the wrestling industry in 2023 following her official release from WWE, and she was off to a hot start. But Mercedes is now cleared for action, and AEW has been heavily promoting her AEW debut for March 13th, which is now just days away. Mercedes also sat down with Kick Rocks Wrestling and opened up about her WWE walkout and explained why it was the hardest yet proudest decision of her life. She had this to say, quote, "Something inside of me told me that I needed to go do this and stand up for myself. It was a very hard decision because wrestling in WWE has been my whole life. People don't know it's been my whole life. It's the hardest decision I've ever had to make in my whole life, but it's the proudest. It's crazy because I would not be sitting here living the best version of my life and getting to be everything I've ever dreamed of and more. It makes me so excited because that moment changed my whole life for the better. I'm so thankful for that moment. I'm so proud of myself." End quote. Mercedes went on to say that she had nothing but great things to say about WWE, and how she still has a lot of unfinished business in wrestling in a lot of different places. She also said that she'll be back in the ring soon, and if the AEW teasers and hints about the March 13th turn out to be true, then her return to the ring really is taking place soon. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.